Welcome back to the Modern Warrior Project. Imagine this. The city goes dark, the power grid is down, communications are out, and worst of all, the water main is shut off. The taps are dry. In a SHTF scenario, finding clean drinking water in a concrete jungle is one of your biggest challenges. Good luck finding streams and lakes, you're in an urban environment. But here's the thing. Even when the obvious sources aren't available, there are hidden reserves of water all around you, if you know where to look. Today, we're sharing 7 hidden water sources in your city that could save your life when disaster strikes. Alright, so first up, something you probably look at every day but might not think of as a go-to water source, your hot water heater. Seriously, while its main task is keeping your showers hot, that tank holds a decent amount of water. We're talking 40, 50, even 60 gallons in some cases. If the grid is down and everything's gone quiet, this thing's your personal reservoir. To get at it, find that drain valve, usually hanging out near the bottom. Now, real important, shut off the heater and the main water line to the house first. Safety first, always. Once that's done, hook up a hose or just open the valve and start collecting. Even though this water's been chilling in the tank, you absolutely gotta purify it before you drink it, no exceptions. So that's H2O covered inside your own 4 walls. But what happens when you need to look beyond your home? The urban landscape itself holds more hidden potential if you know where to look. Let's venture out and explore another often missed source. And that brings us to a surprisingly accessible water source in any home or building, the toilet cistern or tank. Yeah, the tank, not the bowl, seriously, stay away from the bowl. But the water in the tank itself, before you flush, that water is clean and ready to go. It's basically a small, readily available water stash. Getting to it is as simple as lifting the lid. Then, you can just use a cup or whatever clean container you've got to scoop it out. Now, while this water is generally clean out of the tank, a quick purification is always a smart play, just to be sure. Better safe than sorry, right? Okay, we've explored 2 indoor options. Now let's step outside and consider a source that literally falls from the sky, even in the most built-up areas. And that's rainwater. Never forget about the sky. Rain is a constant natural water delivery system, even dumped right onto the city. Lots of preppers have dedicated rain barrels, which are awesome, but in a pinch, literally any clean container you leave outside during a downpour is gonna catch some precious water. Think outside the box buckets, coolers, even rigging up a tarp to funnel water into something. The key is to grab that rain before it hits the ground, because that's when it starts picking up garbage and contaminants. Even though it fell from the sky, city rain can have airborne crud in it, so purifying it is still the intelligent route to go. Rain is great when it's falling, but what about finding larger volumes of water in the urban environment? Sometimes the biggest sources are hidden in plain sight within the city's infrastructure. And we're talking about the water tanks in commercial and industrial buildings. Alright, this one's a bit more advanced and definitely comes with more risk, but these big structures often have some serious water storage capacity, sometimes up on the roof or buried in the basement. These are part of their internal systems. Getting to these requires knowing your way around plumbing and, let's be real, possibly navigating security if things haven't gone fully to chaos yet. But in a long-haul situation, these tanks hold a ton of water. Water from these sources needs serious caution and thorough purification. This isn't for the faint of heart and definitely requires some homework beforehand. Moving away from the large-scale infrastructure, let's look for water where you might least expect it, hidden pockets of nature surviving amidst the concrete jungle. Because even within dense urban areas, pockets of nature can hold hidden water. Parks, undeveloped lots, or even steep embankments might have natural springs or seeps where groundwater comes to the surface. Finding these is like a treasure hunt. You gotta look for the subtle signs, extra green plants when everything else is dry, damp spots on the ground, or where you see a little trickle happening naturally. This is surface water, which means it's super easy to contaminate. You'll need to be a purification ninja for this kind of water rigorous filtration, and then boiling is your best bet. Beyond natural sources, the byproducts of urban living itself can sometimes yield water, if you know where to collect it. Think about the systems that keep us comfortable, and that leads us to condensation from HVAC systems. Ever notice water dripping from air conditioners on a hot, humid day? That's condensation, and it's essentially water pulled right out of the air. These HVAC systems produce more of this than you might think, especially in stickier climates. Keep an eye out for those drip points under window units or the collection lines on bigger building systems. This water is generally cleaner than rainwater because it hasn't been exposed to as much open-air crud, but the system itself can introduce tiny bits of contaminants. So yeah, even condensation needs to be purified before you drink it. Finally, let's consider one more source that relies on the existing, but damaged, infrastructure. It requires a bit of know-how, but it can be a valuable last resort, and that's water trapped in pipes from higher ground. In a grid-down scenario, even if the main water supply is shut down, you might still be able to get water from the pipes, especially if you're in an area with hills or varying elevations. Think about it. Gravity is still a thing. Water can get trapped in the lower sections of the plumbing system. Accessing this might mean using outdoor spigots if they're in a lower area, or potentially getting into basement plumbing if you know what you're doing. This water has been sitting around, so treat it like any other questionable source and purify it before you even think about drinking it. Now, we've mentioned it for every single source, and I can't stress this enough. Purification is absolutely critical for any water you find in an urban survival situation. Don't skip this step. Ending up with a waterborne illness while already dehydrated could result in death in this type of situation. Boiling is your most reliable method. A rolling boil for at least 1 minute kills most pathogens in lower altitudes. Filtration can remove larger particles, and chemical treatments like iodine or bleach can also work, but make sure you know the correct dosages. Always filter before you chemically treat or boil if possible. So there you have it. 7 hidden water sources right in your city. Knowing these can give you a serious edge when the system fails. Preparedness isn't just about having a bug-out bag, it's about understanding your environment and being resourceful. Take the time to identify these potential sources in your own area now. Practice your purification methods. Be a modern warrior, ready for anything. Stay prepared, stay safe, and we'll see you out there. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more survival and preparedness videos like this.